Hello, everybody, and welcome to this week's edition of the WrestleWatch podcast. I'm Ryan.
And I'm Doug.
How are you doing this morning, Doug? You had a late evening, I believe.
Yeah, a little bit. Not too bad. I did go to the New Japan show in Chicago.
Mm-hmm.
It ended around 10:30, and then I was able to catch the metro train back to Joliet that left a little before 11. I got home and walked in my door probably a little after 12.
Okay.
So, it wasn't that bad.
Okay, well,
Uh,
that's a lot earlier than... I didn't even get to leave Dynasty before midnight, so...
yeah, I'll say if I had stuck around for the Tana promo or whatever post-match promo, I probably would have missed that train and I wouldn't have been able to leave until like 12:30.
Gotcha.
And I probably wouldn't have gotten home till probably like 2. So I made the right call. I was able to wake up at a reasonable time and felt refreshed.
Yeah.
I'm someone who doesn't need a lot of sleep. I have a
Mm-hmm.
pretty high metabolism and I'm usually on 6 hours of sleep every night anyway, so it's fine.
Well, did you have a good time with the show?
I did. I enjoyed the Iron Man match a lot. The main event was very good. I thought the women's match was excellent. A lot of really solid matches. I will admit, the Naito Teton tag match, I did go to the merch stand at that point and went and got some drinks. So I didn't really watch that one. So I
Uh,
don't have any thoughts on it.
it happened. It was a match that happened. I think that they tried their best with it, but Naito is I'll put it
Naito.
like this. I don't think that Naito is going to be getting a retirement tour like Tanahashi is getting.
Yeah. No, it's like yeah, exactly. And I thought this was that main event was probably the best Tana match I've seen in a while.
It I agree with that. At the same time, so it's like it's weird for me at least because watching the match, like when I'm thinking about it technically, I'm like, okay, Takesha's doing a lot of the work here. Um, and I really enjoyed the match. I enjoyed the feeling of the match. There was so much energy about the match, but I was just like, yeah, if Tanahashi was 10 years younger, this match would have been like easy a 5-star match kind of a feeling.
Yeah, well, here's the thing. I definitely think it was absolutely a carry job. There's no doubting that. And I do think that cage matches rating on it right now, it's over 9. Like I think that's way too high.
Yeah, I gave it like a 6 or a 7 honestly, on like the cage match scale.
Yeah, right. But I mean, I love that Iron Man match. I went I'd go 9 on that if we were on the cage match scale. I thought that was fantastic.
I went 3.
Um, yeah. That's I once again, I think it's just a match that really was elevated if you were there live. I think that's part of it.
I suppose, but like I guess that's the same thing for people that were there for the Clash of Champions 60-minute draw matches.
Yeah. That's also true.
Because
For the
yeah, I get the energy that people in the crowd were getting from it from the Iron Man match there, but like just for me at home, I was just like, cool, we're doing the slaps again. That was just it gets it, I really like Gabe Kidd as a person, but I just do not connect with some of his matches.
See, I guess I'm just someone who I will never get tired of the slaps. I will always watch the slaps. I get nothing but slaps. I'm here. So I guess that's part of it. So
um,
anyway, I guess we probably should get going and talk about this week. So once
yeah,
again, welcome everyone. This is the WrestleWatch podcast. We are the only podcast where we talk about exclusively the world of contract negotiations in professional wrestling. You could follow us on Blue Sky, on Twitter, on Substack. Um, we also have the tier list that we meticulously update, our free agency tracker. And we are constantly re-updating it every week to see who we think is moving between promotions, signing, leaving, and of course, jumping. So feel free to come with us on this journey.
yeah, and this week we're going to be doing a little bit of review, as it were, of jumps that happened previously. We do this every so often, and by every so often, I mean exactly 1 year removed from when somebody either stays or jumps from a promotion. We call it report cards. We look back on talent a year following them signing or re-signing. We grade the decision for each promotion involved and the talent, and we do that all separately. And then
Yep,
we grade it on an A plus to F grade scale because we love teachers.
of course. So I guess we could dive right in. And the first person that we're going to be talking about is Cody Rhodes. What a way to
Yeah.
start it off.
What do you want to
So
talk about?
yeah, so it's been a year since we took him off the free agency tracker because that was when he re-signed with WWE. Um, and so I think it's time to kind of talk about Cody over. Are we? Well, are we talking about Cody since he resigned? Right. We're not talking about
Yeah.
him like his jump.
Yeah, so this is from 1 year ago. It was formally announced, and I believe he actually signed around this time too. Um, it was an interview that he did on some podcast in the lead up for WrestleMania 40. He said that he had re-signed with WWE in the past few months prior to that, and that his contract was running through his 40th birthday at least. His 40th birthday is actually the summer, which is spicy that I don't think enough people are talking about that yet. But, I'm sure the answer from people will be, oh, he's got a lot of time left. He's got a lot of time left. And then suddenly he'll be in a contract year and everybody will freak out. But yes, we're talking about the period of time over the past year. So essentially the lead up to, I would call it, because the rumors that he was re-signing started around December or January last year. So let's look at the period from the Royal Rumble last year through to today of grading WWE's decision to re-sign him and Cody Rhodes' decision to re-sign.
Okay, so why don't we start with WWE's decision to re-sign him? A plus decision. I mean, I don't know what else to say with that. I mean, he's their biggest star.
Yeah.
He is the one who is, you could argue, I mean, you want during the bloodline, you could argue that Sami Zayn was a big part of why this whole thing got turned around in the first place.
Yeah.
But Cody Rhodes was the end goal. It always was. And they've successfully finished the story in a way that the WWE fan base is completely on board with it.
Mm-hmm.
You could say what you will about how things have gone since his title reign has taken place. The company is still very, very strong. They're selling tickets very, very well. A lot of that may be masked by the fact that they've completely eliminated house show loops for the most part
Yeah.
and taken all these international dates. But even that, and we'll keep the ratings aside. They're doing very well, better than they've been in. Is it fair to say decades?
Yes, I think at
Yeah.
this point it's fair to say decade.
Yeah. So it's an A plus decision by WWE, and I for one absolutely attribute it to Cody Rhodes largely.
Yeah, I think that people will wax on. I think this will become like the new like contagion of mismemory within wrestling is the bloodline was always good, which it wasn't.
Yeah.
It was good when Sami Zayn was in it, and it was good leading up from the period between Royal Rumble and Mania for 2 different years, and that was it. That's the only times when the bloodline storyline was actually fun and hot. So you can attribute that to 2 people then, Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes. Now, yes, people were into the storyline. However, the best parts of the storyline and the things that were getting the most business were Sami Zayn and Cody Rhodes.
Yes.
And so I think that moving on from the bloodline was a good decision. I think that having Cody Rhodes be the champion, look, like the past year, he has had far more defenses of that belt. He's elevated that belt, which is a belt that contains 2 championships. Don't worry about it. And he's all like, I like, look, he got a 5-star match out of Dave Meltzer. He did.
He did
with AJ Styles, of all people, too, at this day and age.
I mean, and that's the thing. I think Cody. I mean, granted, I would say Cody improved a lot during his like time away from WWE.
Yeah.
And he's come back, and he's a very, very good professional wrestler who's capable of having really, really great matches. So I'll say I'm not super surprised that he was able to pull that off.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not either. I'm saying from the perspective of like WWE, I would say that you have to look at this and say, wow, we didn't necessarily expect this to happen. To go over this perfectly and this well.
Mm-hmm.
Like they're getting bona fides of match quality when for I don't know how long it was considered that like matches were very, very, very secondary for what they were going for with WWE. Now, it's not the entire card is, lights out with match quality or anything like that, but what they're getting out of the main event scene now in WWE is high match quality. When for the past few years with Roman Reigns, it was I guess now we call it the Death Rider match, where it's just a slow plotting match that then has a ref bump, interference, bloodline wins kind of thing.
Yeah, we've definitely moved away from that.
Yeah, so it's I think that now we have far more interesting matches that are happening at the top of the card for WWE, and we're getting stories that are, I think that they're more interesting because they're not just about 4 people for 3 or 4 years. It's now about a rotation of people. Different people are getting shots at Cody Rhodes. It's not just the same. It's not just, oh, lol, Cody wins, that kind of feeling.
Yeah, it does feel like we're kind of with AEW is just like a few months behind WWE and telling the same story, because it's just like replace Cody Rhodes with Will Ospreay, replace Roman Reigns with Moxley. You basically have the same story being told.
The ending of Dynasty, I was talking to the person that I was sitting next to. He was a WWE fan at Dynasty, and I remarked before the last match, I said, "Oh yeah, this is just gonna be a bloodline match," and he was like, "Oh." And then like his enjoyment of the match actually went up from there because he was like, here comes Solo, Mm-hmm. And you kind of got that feeling where you're like, oh, is this the Cody Avengers happening? Because now the ops are in on it, and all these now it's the main event guys are all getting in on it, like Okada and Omega and Ospreay and Swerve and all of that. It's wait a second, this is the same thing, right?
It definitely feels like it's hitting the same beats, and maybe that just speaks to the fact that wrestling isn't complicated.
No, it's not. No,
it's like it's not that hard. You don't need to be.
It's essentially the same thing that happened in the '90s with the Sting unites WCW to fight the NWO thing. Like it's the same story as that too.
Yeah, and which is what, and it's like I'm not saying that in a negative way. It's like wrestling is just it rhymes. There's only so many stories you could tell, and it's okay that they tell the same ones because in general, they do follow the hero's journey, know, and that's just, and ultimately that's what it's going to mimic.
Feels in the chat, our friend Luke said that this is the argument that our good friend Dredd made in his essay. Yes, there's an essay out there that was posted on the AW official subreddit from one of our contributors here within the WrestleWatch community, talking about how a lot of this goes back to like 80s horseman booking.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's a great comparison.
But yeah, so speaking, I think that A+ is fair to say for WWE's decision to sign Cody Rhodes again. It keeps him in the company. It doesn't let him leave the company. That would be crazy if it was like, you're going into WrestleMania season and you're gonna get this guy to win the Royal Rumble, and what are you gonna do? Are you gonna have him lose again because he didn't re-sign and he's gonna go to AEW as that kind of situation? When you think about what could have happened if Cody Rhodes left a year ago, is like, yeah, it's fantastic that WWE did not let that happen.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And I think the benefits that they got out of it are also A+ benefits.
I agree.
So what do you think then about Cody himself? What on his decision to resign?
You know what? I think I'm gonna go solid A as well. you could argue that, and I wouldn't go A plus because I do think that there is an argument that he could have maybe got more money if he went elsewhere. I still feel that no matter what, if AEW wants someone, they will be able to pay more.
Mm-hmm.
Like they will always pay more on someone that they really, really want, especially as long as TKO is a private, is a publicly traded company that has to publish all their expenses.
Yeah, and they have a fiduciary responsibility to the stock owners.
Yeah. Now that may not be the case, much longer. I mean, if we end up seeing this, was it Lightshed that may take control?
I can't remember.
Private?
I can't remember who it's Endeavor who owns 50%. I think it is, or no, it's fully owned. I can't remember what the stock breakdown is, but Endeavor, the parent company,
may go private.
They are going private. Yes.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see what happens in that situation. But regardless, that's wild speculation on another topic. So just looking at the situation right now, Cody obviously still has a lot more to do in WWE. He still has this title reign, which he's going to run out. And on top of that, there's not really a clear person for Cody Rhodes to drop the belt to yet.
Well, there is and there isn't. It's complicated because I think that there is a clear person. I think he's going to drop the belt this next week to Cena.
To who? You think so?
Yeah.
I don't.
I think that the story that they're going to tell is have Cena have a heel reign and Cody defeats him again. He drops the belt back to Cody at like SummerSlam, and then Cena does a face turn at SummerSlam, and then like he finishes the year as a face.
I don't think that that's impossible. But once again, let's say that did happen. That's still not someone for Cody to drop the belt to. That's just someone to
correct. Yeah, it's
feud with, and eventually Cody gets it back, and then he continues his. I would say that's just a continuation of his reign.
It essentially is. It's a bouncing belt situation a little bit more than it is him actually like. I think that's more putting over Cody by having him beat Cena eventually. I think that this is personally, I think that this is the Occam's razor booking thing with this. It's just like, well, yeah, why wouldn't they give Cena the belt? Kind of a thing.
Well, and it's also a sign. Once again, we talked about this during Roman's reign for the entire time because they did not build up anyone during that reign.
Yeah,
they just had him bury everyone until Cody came along. So now they're in a situation where they don't have anyone else except Roman and Cody. They could try. I mean, they're trying with Jey Uso. I suppose they could do something with Gunther.
I think that there are a few possibilities of people, but that they're locked up right now in other things. So you have Punk there in the ether. You have Seth in the ether as well. I don't think that they're strong candidates necessarily. I think that they're candidates though.
Yeah.
I think
Punk would work, but the issue is this is what we've kind of learned so far over the last couple of weeks is that his contract is very limited in the sense that he isn't wrestling a lot.
He doesn't have to guarantee a lot of dates to wrestle. Yeah.
Which doesn't necessarily mean he can't be champ, but I think there's also the concern that he is injury prone.
Yes.
Yeah. But either way,
if you were to look at other people though, like Jacob Fatu is a possibility, although I think that he's going to probably be getting the US title. You have Gunther who's probably going to drop the WHC. You have Braun Breaker who's probably dropping the IC. So there are a few people that are younger folks too that could get built up by the end of the year.
Yeah. Here's the thing though, I think they could do that. Yeah, but they're not gonna be on the level of Cody, and maybe that's not fair on my part because who is? But I would say that in general, this is still an A. Yeah, I would go A for Cody. This has I think him re-signing is a no-brainer because even if he is going to eventually make a jump, I think that he would be much more valuable after this reign than he would have, signing what right before WrestleMania.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, I'll give it an A as well because I think that even though he might get more money via like the actual contract itself from an AEW, I think that for somebody like him that it can't probably be discounted with how much promotional stuff that he's doing that he might be getting a lot more money from side stuff via the platform of WWE, whereas somebody that's like lower on the card, it wouldn't be like that.
I agree.
Because he's the face of Wheatley's vodka. I have never seen it in a store. I don't understand this sponsorship. I don't understand it, but I've never seen it in a store.
I haven't either, but I'm also not someone who buys alcohol in the store. Like if I'm drinking at a bar. I don't usually bring it home.
Well,
so yeah, so I think we agree. Both A's for them.
Yeah.
Those are the Cody Rhodes report card.
And now we're going to talk about the Beast Mortos. Feels here in the chat says, I don't think this vodka actually exists. We'll find out at I think Bailey is doing an appearance at the Strat Hotel in Vegas, sponsored by Wheatley's Vodka. Maybe they're gonna have to figure out if it's real or not there.
Kayfabe vodka.
Kayfabe vodka. She's just pounding water shots. The Beast Mortos left AAA. He was at the time known as Toros or Black Toros. And he signed with AEW. We removed him from the tracker exactly a year ago on April 6th after 91 days of keeping an eye on him. So for this one, we're going to be looking at how the move was for AAA of losing Toros, of AEW signing him, and then for the Beast himself, if this was an upgrade, a downgrade for him.
All right, so I want to be this one. I don't think I'll have as much to say. So in terms of AAA letting him go, I think it's really hard to say because AAA is such a train wreck as a promotion right now.
Yeah, I agree with that.
There's nothing good going on. It's like even if they kept him, I don't know that it would have mattered that much. And I think that ultimately he wasn't a game changer for them. He was just an upper mid card guy who just occasionally would. I don't think maybe upper mid card is even pushing it. So I don't think they lost anything by letting him go. I would say it's fine. I'd say it's a B. I'd say B minus. The company's really any different than it was before.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's a B because it doesn't really change much for them, positive or negative.
Yeah, that's all I have to say about that part.
Yeah.
So now in terms of AEW picking him up, I think I have to go C minus. I don't think they've done a very good job with him.
Okay.
And I think this is largely due to everything surrounding the luchadors in the promotion lately has just felt very, very weird because Faction Los Ingobernables has just been on and off. Sometimes Jake the Snake is there, sometimes he's not. Sometimes someone's feuding, sometimes someone's with someone else. It just feels like it's very haphazard, and it doesn't seem like they're telling a cohesive story. And it feels like every luchador is kind of tied in with that in one way or another, and Beast Mortos included. And it feels like they're not telling a great story with him. They put him in a position to have really great matches.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, he was in the C2. He was in the Owen. They'll give him opportunities, and he usually delivers in a pretty solid way. So on second thought, maybe I'll go C plus. I'll C plus for him for AEW signing him because they do put him in good positions, but I don't like the stories they're telling with him.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna go C plus as well because for two reasons. One, I think that he is an upgrade for people who were similar on the card, like the placement on the card previously. Like if we compare to the previous year's C2, the person that was the picked up all the losses person was Jay Lethal.
Yes.
And I think that Mortos in that position in this year's C2 was an upgrade from Lethal.
Absolutely.
So for that, I think that like if you're going to be using him as a kind of like lower mid card tournament wrestler, I think that he's an upgrade of a person. But at the same time, that is how you're using him, is a lower mid card tournament wrestler, which is not like it's not fantastic, but I don't think that they're breaking the bank to have him signed either.
Yeah, and I'm not necessarily even saying that they should push him.
Yeah.
I think
that they could. I think that they could push them as a trio or in the tag scene.
they could, but I'm not saying it's a this is like
a fumble.
booking. This is not a fumble. This is not a booking disaster that they're deciding not to push the Beast Mortos. I think the Beast Mortos is perfectly fine. I don't think he is someone that is a stone cold lock to get generate business or anything like that. I think he's fine. And I think that they're using him well. I just wish that they did a better job of telling some story with him.
I think that that's just generally how it's going with the luchadors in general right now, or as Luke calls it, the lucha hole. Because they are being featured and they are being felt as being important wrestlers, but it doesn't feel like necessarily like Commander has the ROH TV title. That feels like it's like, okay, we're gonna have some importance to him. Hologram is just there to win and never lose.
Yeah, and I maybe even being unfair, because when you have when you're telling these stories with these luchadors, and a lot of times they're working together, which is fine.
Yeah.
But they have visa issues.
Yeah.
Pretty regularly, and that can throw things off, and that could be a reason why suddenly people just disappear for long periods of time without any explanation. But then at the same time, I feel like I can't give them. It's like, because then you take a look at someone like Jake the Snake, who's they try to involve to kind of elevate him. He shows up once and then he vanishes. And that could just be health issues for Jake. But then it's like, then don't put him.
Don't do it. Yeah.
Don't do it. Yeah.
So yeah, I would say for AEW it's a C+, and I think that that's kind of where both of us are laying on this, because it's an upgrade from what the people that they were positioning in where he is positioned currently. I think that he is an upgrade of a performer.
Yes. And now we should do him.
Yeah.
Okay. So now, how would we grade his decision in terms of like his benefit? I would say that this is an A decision for him.
I agree,
because AAA is not a place you want to be right now. It is a bad promotion. Overall, just nothing good is happening there. That's the lucha hole, if we want to be completely honest. Like, yeah, welcome to AAA. And I think that he's obviously, I'm sure he's making much, much more money in AEW than he is in AAA. And he's on a much larger platform. I think overall, this was a no-brainer move for him.
Yeah, I made this joke recently, but it's also kind of true. AEW is essentially a lucha laundering operation for CMLL.
Yes. that is perfect.
Like,
I mean, yeah, go ahead. You explain it.
Yeah. I mean, like, look at I guess Aramis now, Hologram, and Commander, and the Lucha Brothers previously as well. They all got to wrestle in CMLL and with CML talent, and CMLL became cool with them because they got signed to AEW. And Mortos got like a one-off kind of thing with CMLL. It's been up in the air. I know that, I think it was Cubs fan, or it might have been one of the other guys that's like lucha scene guys, was saying that he's still like, Mortos is still not approved to work with CMLL talent by CMLL, but that like he's on the borderline essentially.
I think that it's a slow process where they need to, time heals all wounds, and AEW is a great salve.
Yeah, they have to rinse the Conan off.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think that for him then, if he wants to get bookings with CMLL when he's in Mexico, or even take trips to Japan. I think that AEW is an upgraded position for him compared to AAA. In addition, he's getting stable payment now, I would presume, as well. And he's being featured on TV, pretty much every other week. He's very over with the AEW crowd as well.
Yes.
He is ridiculously over with the crowd. Um, I think all the luchadors are over with the crowd, honestly. Even Dralistico, who he appears every once in a while. But I think that like they've figured out a way to get them over. Just like the question is, yeah, as we've discussed, is how do you tell stories with these guys when you might not get them every single week? Um, they were able to tell a story with Bandito. It seems that with the what are they called? Los Titans de Ares and La Facción Ingobernable. It looks like that they're like trying to tell a story with them, but they're stop starting. So the story is essentially just like we don't like each other, so we fight.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think that it's an A. Yeah, let's just yeah,
Yeah.
end this.
I think
Yeah, it's an A.
I think we did enough with the Beast Mortos. I think we made our points pretty clear.
Yeah, I think we've exhausted that one.
All right. So I think now we're gonna go into our we're gonna talk about the tier list and the free agency tracker, I should say.
Yes.
All
So
right.
this is last week's on the screen right now. If you're listening in, you don't see it on a screen. It doesn't matter that you don't because we're gonna change it.
Yep. So we're gonna talk about Ninja Mack now.
Yeah, Ninja Mack has been doing tournaments with New Japan Pro Wrestling recently. He did the Super Junior Tag League as well. Last year, he did the Best of the Super Juniors as a member of the Noah roster. This year, he is doing Best of the Super Juniors again, yet he is being credited as from New Japan Pro Wrestling. So, what are we feeling with Ninja Mac? Do you think that there's something more going on here and that this is going to move him up our tracker, our tier list, or do you think that it's pretty much just more of the same?
Here's the thing. I have a hard time judging what that means when people are billed from different promotions in these tournaments.
Okay.
Um, we had him previously as a lean jump. Um, I still think that that is likely the case. I think it is likely that he is jumping somewhere, and I think
Uh-oh.
most people think that that place is New Japan.
Yeah.
I just said likely. I
Yeah, you
said
did. You said it.
I did say likely.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So I'm on the fence though. I still think I still want to keep him at lean jump just because I don't know. I don't have a lot of faith in like what those graphics mean, like in terms of where someone is billed from. Um, would I be surprised if he has some type of New Japan contract now? No, I wouldn't. But that's why we have him on the jump side more than the stay side, and we don't have him as a toss up because we think it if we had had to pick one direction, it would be jump. So I just don't know that that's enough for me to change it. So I stayed lean jump.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Um, I'm seeing this as movement towards him signing with New Japan.
Okay.
Um, because it's he was doing the tournament last year as a member of Noah. He left Noah. He's doing tournaments again and again with New Japan. Um, I think that New Japan has enough um, junior heavyweights within their system and from partnerships that they could fill up the roster with people that are signed to New Japan otherwise, if he is not. So I think that even if it is a case of he's still a pure freelancer, I think that this is moving in the direction of him formally signing. That's my feeling on it. So I'm saying that it's likely that he is signing.
Okay. And then what did the committee decide?
They popped him up to likely.
Okay. And I'm fine with that, honestly. That works for me. All right. So then we have a couple quick hitters that we need to go over.
Yeah.
All right. So we could just run through these. So first one we have Danhausen. He's been moved from likely stay to toss up. Um, Here's the thing with him. I don't I think he's probably going to be leaving AEW, but I don't necessarily see him going somewhere that we see as a tracker location.
Okay.
Like I don't think him going to WWE. I don't see him going to New Japan. So because of that, I chose to keep him at likely stay.
Yeah,
But
my reasoning is that I think that he is more likely than not I think that he would sign with WWE. I think that
okay.
Punk would give his friend a contract.
Okay, so and I guess we should have clarified this before we talked about it. Danhausen is going from likely stay to toss up.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, just for the people who don't have it on the screen.
Yeah.
And that's fine. Next one is Joe Hendry. He is currently at lean stay, and we are deciding to keep him at lean stay. I think I agree with that. I don't think anything has really happened with Joe Hendry to make me change my mind on what's going on with him. I think he's likely to stay in TNA for the time being. We'll talk about, stuff later, but I don't think his contract is coming up anytime soon.
Not as far as we're aware, no. And he just won the world championship with TNA. He was one of the mainstays of that whole NXT crossover before they actually formalized NXT as a partnership with TNA. Since the partnership has formally announced, he has not appeared on NXT at all since then. It could be because he is the TNA world champion and they don't want their world champion appearing on the other show. I don't know. He appeared in the Royal Rumble, and he's the only TNA person since the partnership to be announced to appear in a main roster show at all for WWE. But yeah, it's so I think that there is still the same level of interest, but I think that it's still the same level of time scale that we're looking at here.
Yes. And then we have Matt Cardona, who went from lean stay to safe stay. Yeah, I think that here's the thing with Matt Cardona. He had that little blip where he popped up in AEW again, and people kind of thought maybe something was going on there. Nothing really came of it. So I think there's no indication he's going anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So I think moving him to safe stay is fine. I don't know if I would have gone all the way down to safe stay. I think he still is like one of the best free agents right now in terms of people know who Matt Cardona is. He gets really good reactions. I wouldn't put it past a company eventually trying to sign him. I think safe stay is very low. But I think he's definitely in the stay area.
Next up is Michael Oku, who went down from toss-up to lean stay. It's been a journey down and down the tier list for Michael Oku over the past almost year at this point. He regained the Rev Pro belt from Luke Jacobs. They're having a rematch, but for the Progress belt in Vegas. It's interesting because I don't think that they're gonna switch the Progress belt at a show in Vegas, but it could happen. And so I don't know. It just feels like it seems like it's leaning towards him not actually signing with specifically with AEW because he was not invited to the WWE tryouts. There were reports that specifically said he was not invited.
Yeah, and I think that's an interesting note. But having said that, I still think that he's like someone who I honestly think he could drop the belt in Vegas.
Oh no, so it's a weird situation. I'm sorry that I might have said it weirdly. So he's currently the Rev Pro champion, and then he's going for the Progress belt, it's also held by Luke Jacobs. So it's like they're having a rematch, but in different promotions for different world titles. It's very strange situation.
God.
So Luke Jacobs had beat him for the Rev Pro belt back at All In Weekend. And then he was double champ between Progress and Rev Pro. And now it looks like they might be doing the same thing but with Michael Oku. It's very weird.
Yeah, okay. No, that does make a little more sense.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that is messy.
It's a messy, bizarre situation that I haven't followed it the most closely as I usually do with Progress, but it just doesn't I don't know. There's something off about it to me, but I don't think that they would. The show, that Progress show, is at like midnight in Vegas. Like, I don't think that they're gonna drop a belt for a promotion that is, 8 time zones away at midnight or 4 a.m.
Yeah,
local time in the
that's gonna be a
UK.
weird. Yeah, that'd be a weird. You're right. That's a strange time to have that. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So
Yeah,
I I went toss up still. I didn't want to move him yet, but I think it looks like everyone else wanted to move him to lean stay. I think I'm okay with
that's
that.
fine.
And
Yeah.
as I think about it, that's probably correct. All right. Then we have Samantha Irvin. Uh, she was at lean stay. Everyone decided to move her to safe stay. Um, Here's the thing. I still think that she could eventually sign somewhere, even if it is just on uh, a different kind of contract. I don't think she necessarily left on bad terms to WWE. I don't think that uh, I don't think it's completely out of the question that she ends up in AEW in some capacity, just because her whole thing was she wanted to do other things. And AEW is a promotion where you could absolutely do other things. Having said that, I think it's more likely than not she's just not going to do any of that stuff. So that's why I said lean stay. And I think lean stay is correct. Everyone else, the committee determined that safe stay is the correct spot for her and she's probably not going anywhere. I think that's fine too.
I admire your steadfastness in your
Yeah.
opinion.
Listen, it's not a hill to die on. And
Uh,
then finally, we have the surfer, Shinsuke Nakamura.
yeah, he's
He,
going up 1 tier from safe stay to likely stay.
why do you think he's going up 1 tier?
Because exactly what we thought was going to happen with the U.S. title happened. The theory was that he got the U.S. title from LA Knight so that they could showcase it on Noah when Shinsuke did a match in Noah, and then that he would just drop the belt back to LA Knight and LA Knight would have a Mania match. And that is literally what's happening. He's appeared twice on TV since the Royal Rumble, once to lose an attack match and once to lose the belt itself. And then otherwise, he's just doing house show matches against LA Knight in Europe. They were in just continually losing challenges to the US title. I don't know, man. Like, the vibes are off of him staying. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you know what though? I
But
still think he might stick around.
oh yeah, no, yeah. I think it's
Like,
likely stay. I think it's likely that it stays still, but I think that the
yeah,
the vibes are a little bit higher of him jumping than it was before. That's all I feel.
okay, that's fair. But yeah,
It's a
ultimately we
vibes.
don't think. Yeah, ultimately we don't think he's going anywhere. Like when you break it down,
Yeah.
which is fine. So that is it for the quick hitters. So that's about it for this week.
Yeah, how about we just run through the entire free agency tracker so that people can visualize and understand who's where right
So,
now.
so this is where we're at. We have for safe jump, we have Hikuleo, Josh Alexander, Malachi Black, and Miro. For likely jump, we have Ninja Mack. Lean jump, we have B. Priestley and Jeff Cobb. For toss up, we have Bishop Dyer, the former Baron Corbin, Cedric Alexander, the Good Brothers, Zosiah, and Danhausen. Lean stay is Joe Hendry, Alexander Hammerstone, and Michael Oku. For likely stay, we have AJ Styles, Mayu Iwatani, Alex Windsor, Beth Phoenix, Gabe Kidd, Indy Hartwell, Leon Slater, Persephone, Mariah May, Saraya, and Shinsuke Nakamura. And then for safe stay, we have Sari, Utami Hashishita, Tam Nakano, Nixon Newell, Sami Zayn, Kofi Kingston, Xavier Woods, Matt Cardona, and Samantha Irvin.
I have a few questions for you on some people here.
Yeah, I have one too.
Okay, so first off, Alexander Hammerstone, I just wanted to get out of the way just to mention that he was on MLW's Battle Riot show last weekend. They said that he's back in MLW. Sean Ross Sapp immediately tweeted out he's not signed. So don't know what that means. It could mean anything. But the two that I wanted to question on were because you were there at New Japan last night,
Mm-hmm.
and there are two people on this tier list that I think might have some questions about them based off of what happened last night.
I
Or
think I know who the first one you're going to talk about is.
and who's that?
That would be one Gabe Kidd, who
Yeah,
dropped the strong openweight championship. So is this the first step out the door of New Japan?
that's what my question to you is.
Yeah.
Do you think that this is that kind of a thing?
Well, I'll tell you what. I think it could be, and then we're gonna leave that as a teaser for next week because I'm pretty sure we're gonna be discussing Gabe Kidd then.
And then I think the other ones that we're going to discuss, and that might tell you exactly who I'm talking about, is the Biz Cliz, the Good Brothers. They got teased last
When did I
night.
get teased? Where did I miss that?
Young Bucks video. Did you guys get the video in the arena?
Oh yeah. We did. I couldn't hear it very well.
Yeah, they said that
I just heard they were showing up.
They said that they wanted to challenge the War Dogs, that they were little, yuppie pups and stuff, and so that they needed to, tell them what the biz was, and, they were going to get the help of a couple OGs, and it would be too sweet. And I feel like the people that are left in the Bullet Club that you could call OGs, that I would actually think the Young Bucks would tag with in this scenario. I don't think that they're going to be tagging with Chase Owens and Bad Luck Fale,
Oh man.
But what if?
That wouldn't move some tickets for Resurgence.
Speaking of lower mid-card tournament wrestlers,
the good brothers are getting their paycheck.
yeah, so that's my question is, do we see this as somebody asked in the Fightful Discord, and I felt like it was a bait question. They were like, did the Young Bucks communicate to AEW that they're gonna probably have a match with the Good Brothers in New Japan? Please say no. And it's like that's bait. That's a bait question. But at the same time, the question is this them going to New Japan or going to AEW? That's intriguing.
I think they're going to New Japan.
I think they're going to New Japan, but I think that they would be fantastic stooges for the Death Elite, the Elite Riders.
Yes.
They're perfect stooges for that storyline for the next few months.
Well, they could do that while being New Japan talent because they were essentially that with Kenny's championship reign while being TNA talent.
Yeah.
So I guess once again, these are the things that time will tell, and we're probably going to be talking about next week.
Just
for
let
sure.
it play out.
Yep.
Yeah. Just wait until Carl Anderson goes to the G1 again.
All right. So do you have any last minute things you'd like to get in?
Yeah, just to mention, of course, to everybody, please subscribe and like our videos here on YouTube. If you subscribe, you'll get updates on things. If you follow us on Twitter and Blue Sky, you'll get updates on the tracker and other posts that we do on our Substack. If you subscribe to our Substack, you can help us here on the show by nominating people that you think that we should evaluate for the tier list, and we will discuss them every week here on the podcast. And just another little plug, I have a separate channel called Pinning Predicaments. I have a video that's going to be going out today, actually, about the men's Owen, a little bit of a preview video there, because that is things that are unrelated to free agency and the world of professional wrestling.
Yes. All right. So with that, then, I'm Doug.
And I'm Ryan. Hope everybody has a fantastic rest of their Saturday. And what do you say, Doug?
I'm not going to say anything. You think I'm going to say things? When we say stay spicy?
Whoa, wow. Spicy.
Yes. Anyway, well, thank you very much, everyone.